Welcome to Agents and Owners Chit Chat, where we talk to local superheroes, hear how they got their start, overcame obstacles, and how they use social media to achieve their goals. For Agent and Owners social media tips, please visit www.gladmash.com. Here's this week's episode.
All right, folks, welcome to Agents and Owners Chit Chat. This is Cas Thompson, and I'm super excited today. We have a special guest, Mr. Charlie Garrett. He's from Food Service Management, also Sunshine Refreshments. I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself, but before I jump in, I had a chance or opportunity to meet him by accident, actually at a networking event. So he had another partner there, Bobby Goodman, also a good friend of ours from your work. Business consultations, and he made that connection happen and actually saved Bobby that night, but that's a different story. And then we also had an opportunity to work with him at our pop-up shop. So what Charlie does is he provides food and catering services. So had a chance to taste the food, and so did tons of our customers. So we appreciated that. But welcome, Charlie. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you for having me.
Good. We appreciate it. So a lot of our listeners are super excited about this episode too, because we're going to jump into vending, which is a hot topic right now. But before we get there, let's just hear some background on you. So how did you get your start in entrepreneurship? So tell us a little bit about what you do currently and how you got your start.
Okay. So currently I am the owner operator of Food Service Management, which is the catering and food truck service. We do several different options. So you can go to foodservicemanagement.com to see what all we offer. I am also the co-owner with my business partner and fiance, Letitia Nobles, of Sunshine Refreshments. And that's the vending side. We do vending services and also do vending training for people who are interested in getting into the vending business. As far as background in entrepreneurship, I think I get that from my father. My father's been an entrepreneur pretty much his whole life. He liked the idea of working for himself and having his own freedom and being able to make the moves he wanted to make when he wanted to. And he was able to retire early. So that was a good motivating factor for me. So, my dad, he was an entrepreneur. And so growing up, I've always had the knack for selling things and basically understanding that, business is supply and demand. If you need something, if I can get it and I can get some money for it, that's entrepreneurship. So even, as a child, I did a little thing in college. Me and a buddy, we started t-shirt companies. I started several businesses growing up to make money on the side. But what I realized is I was starting hustles, not businesses. So
I like that.
A lot of people don't understand there's a big difference between starting a hustle and starting a business. A hustle, you can make some money.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a whole nother situation. And
go.
so as I've gotten older and realized that the difference between the two, I've started several businesses that have been pretty successful. So happy about that.
There you go. Now, we're proud of that for sure. And you definitely mentioned a couple of things that I got to jump into. So, we've interviewed tons of entrepreneurs and business owners, on this show, and their stories are pretty similar. They've been hustling for a while, and they've been able to transition the hustle into a legitimate business. But tell me about some of the struggles that you had to overcome, right? So one of the things that all of us go through is really not understanding our strengths and weaknesses, right? So tell me about some of the hardships or some of the obstacles that you had to overcome personally as a new young entrepreneur / business owner.
Well, when I was younger, one of the mistakes I consistently made was believing that I could do everything myself.
Right.
I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm a pretty bright guy.
Right.
And I feel that, hey, if it can be done, if somebody else can do it, I can. But what you realize when becoming versus hustling and starting a business is the value of the time you have and the strengths you have. Some things you may be able to do, but if it's not your strength, you're wasting valuable time. That time can be used doing something else to build the business and grow the business more versus spending it on certain parts. Part of that is, perfect example is Bobby with Mule Works.
Right.
His strengths are not my strengths.
Right.
So some of the things that he do, it's better for me to pay him to do that and me focus on my strengths and grow my business that way versus trying to do it myself. Now, I'm a pretty smart guy. I could learn to do it. And some of it I can do. But what may take him an hour may take me 5 or 6.
Right.
The opportunity cost and the lost revenue or potential revenue for those 4 hours difference it's not worth it.
Right. Can't get that time back.
Exactly. And time is invaluable. So
Exactly.
you need to be able to understand that pay people to do things that are not your strengths so that you can focus on your strengths and grow your business.
Yep, I love it. And again, we've all made that same mistake, right? Thinking we could do it all, or trying to do things that we shouldn't really be spending time doing. There's no greater thing that you could be doing as an owner than investing in the things that you have a strength in, right? And
Right.
if that's sales, focus on that. If it's the financial piece, focus on that, and then get somebody to do sales. If it's marketing, or
Right.
again, some of the administrative tasks, you got to focus on your strengths for sure.
Right.
So let's back up a little bit. So you had the t-shirt brand, you had a couple other hustles, then you legitimized and turned them into actual businesses. But
Mhm.
what made you really start pursuing the vending side of business? So I know obviously there's that mirror there with food, and there's a good transition into vending. But what made you say, you know what, I really want to put my money right here and start investing some time into research vending machines?
So it was odd, just a weird coincidence. I was actually working a 9 to 5,
Okay.
and a gentleman had come in and put a vending machine in the location. It wasn't a very profitable vending machine location.
Right.
With probably 25, 30 people in the building. He was a small entrepreneur and he was getting started. So one day he was coming to fill up the machine, and just I guess he was having a bad day, and he made the comment, I don't even know if it's worth me still coming out here doing this.
Wow.
And so, we get to talking, and I told him, I said, you know what? Since this is far from you and it's not a beneficial situation, why don't you sell me the machines and I'll take it over? I mean, I'm here every day. I come in a few hours early, fill it up, make the money. It's cool. He thought it was a good idea. I purchased the 2 machines from him, and again, it
Right.
didn't make a lot of money, but the benefit of it was I was already there. So I wasn't losing anything. And I was able to make an additional $200 a month off of the machine. And I'm like, hey, $200 a month is still $200 a month.
Yeah, and
And
it's passive. It's pretty passive, right?
I tell people, vending machines is not passive income; it's semi-passive.
Semi-passive, right? You still got
Semi-passive.
to do a little labor.
You got to do a little work and get things together. You may work, and for that vending machine that I initially started with, or those machines I initially started with, I probably invested, 5 hours a week, if that, not even 5 hours a week, probably 3 hours a week
Okay.
to get it to work. But I made $200 a month, so
Right,
hey, you can't be mad
right,
at that.
right. And
But
then the other benefit too is that you're at the 9 to 5, right? So you're gonna be at the location anyway. That's
exactly.
all. That's awesome. That's
And
awesome. So
so he ended up selling me the machine. And then oddly enough, just I'm a man of faith. I believe I'm a believer, and one of the things that I believe is that God guides your footsteps.
yep.
After leaving that 9 to 5, I kept the machines. I never got rid of them. I actually still have those machines
Wow.
and still in that exact location. So
That's
it's
awesome.
funny. But
Right.
I took a job with a company called the Business Enterprise Program, where
Okay.
I trained blind people to run vending businesses.
What?
Yeah, it was a state-run program. It's a federal program,
Right.
but ran by each state.
Got to
And
stay.
so
Okay.
the job was to train blind people to be entrepreneurs. So we would
Wow.
train them to do vending machine business, run snack bars, a lot of
Right.
things in food service because of a program called the Randolph Shepherd Act. So I
Okay.
spent about 5 years running the Business Enterprise program, teaching blind people to run businesses. And the largest part of it was vending machines. And
Right.
so, it was like, hey, I had the experience of running my own vending business. It's
Yeah.
relatively small. I grew it a little bit from the 2 machines at the time. But after running that program for 5 years, I learned the ins and outs of vending like
That's
nobody's
amazing.
business.
Right.
Uh,
So what do you have to say? Not to cut you off, but what do you have to say about the person? So I'm listening to you, and you're like, hey, you're training people that are blind to run vending machines, right, and service counters. And what do you have to say to an entrepreneur that can't get up early and they have tons of excuses, right? And you have these blind folks, and this is no knock on them because everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, like we talked about before, but if they could literally, in no plain words, see the value of being an entrepreneur, what would you say to the person that doesn't have that mindset quite yet? Like, hey, they're just full of excuses and et cetera. They don't want to take action on doing it. What would you
then
say to them?
I'd say they're not an entrepreneur.
Right.
Because if
Go deep on that.
you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have one of the things about entrepreneur. People say the definition of entrepreneur is risk taker.
Right.
It's not even really to me about the risk taker. It's about the self motivation. An entrepreneur is a self motivated person. If you can't get up in the morning to do what you have to do, if you don't have the desire to do it, then you're not an entrepreneur. An
Right.
entrepreneur is not going to have, the funny thing about it is since I started my business, I don't use an alarm clock anymore. When I was working at 5, I had an alarm clock to wake me up in the morning. Now,
your passion is going to wake you up. That's the thing. I totally agree with that. Your passion and your desire to serve, whatever your purpose is, for helping people within your business, that's what's going to really get you up in the morning. You might have some late nights too because you're worried about things, but it'll definitely, but the money will definitely wake you up, and that passion will wake you up.
Now, the funniest thing I think I've seen on social media recently was a little spiff or gif or whatever you call it about a lady saying, "I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, so I started my own business, and now I work 24/7."
Yeah, I love that.
That is hilarious to me because
it's funny, but it's true. It's true to heart. Yeah.
But the thing is, when you're working for yourself and when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing your own business, it's a labor of love, the passion in it, and so it's not necessarily work. When they say when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life or something to that effect. When you're working for yourself, it gets those nights can get late. There's a lot of things you have to put in place, but the benefits is when you can see that, hey, I'm doing this for a purpose and I'm going to invest these 2 or 3 years into getting the business going. Then in about 3 or 4 years, I'm going to look back and see that I have the structure in place. I have the pieces in place. It gets easier. Now I have the infrastructure in place to make things work, and it's worth it. It was an investment in a better future.
That's what I'm talking about. So let's talk about the infrastructure real quick, because I know we're getting people excited that are listening in right now. So if I wanted to start up, and when I say I'm speaking on behalf of my audience members, if I wanted to start up and get into the vending machine business, what am I looking at from a capital investment? So we talked about time. I know it's going to take a couple of hours in time, but how much should I really be putting aside and how much should I prepare to spend? That is the question on getting started in the business.
That is a really good question, and because of the person that I am, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you there is no set amount. As much as possible. Let's just be honest, because people say, well, I can get started for $2,000, and yes, you can get started for $2,000. You can get started for $500, depending on what it is you're trying to do. Vending machines vary. There's so many different types of vending machines, and because they vary, so does the price and the cost. And then you have how many machines are you getting? How many locations are you getting? What equipment are you going to need to go? The larger you get, the more investment you have to put into it. But if you're just starting with a basic vending machine, let's say a snack drink a machine, you can purchase those from anywhere from about $700 for a low end basic machine with probably old technology where you won't be able to take credit card readers or anything of that nature.
Gotcha.
700, but then you can go all the way up to $20,000 depending on the machine you're trying to get.
Right.
And one of the things that people need to understand is before you go and spend money on equipment, have an idea of the location you're going to put it in, as well as start speaking to people about having a location and what it is you're going to need, because different machines offer different options, and based off the needs of that customer, that's the machine you want to put. You can't just go in and go, I have this vending machine, you have to take it. No, they'll decide what they want, and you need to give the customer what they want. And that can determine the cost. But it can be anything from $500-$600. You can get a gumball machine if you want to get into an easy, quick move. Get you a gumball machine, the ones with the little M&Ms or the Skittles and the sides. Take quarters. You can put that in a good location. You can buy those for anywhere from about $85 to about $120. Spend about $50 on the product, and you can amaze how much money those things can make in the right location.
Got you. So the barrier of entry is really not that hard. Like you said, it depends on different factors, the equipment, type of machines, location.
The financial barrier of entry is not that hard.
Financial.
What makes it difficult is finding the quality locations. And when I say a quality location, you don't want to. Perfect example. My first machine was because a gentleman, he was just trying to get started, and he took a location with only 25 people in the location. If you have 25 people in a location, you're probably only going to get 4 or 5 of them using it a day.
Wow.
At best.
Yeah.
And so, because the percentage of people that use the vending machines in a business is not always that high, depending on the location. But in that location, you only had 4 or 5 people using it a day, and they're spending, at the time, this was 10, 11 years ago, they're spending 60 to 75 cents for a bag of chips, 65 to 75 cents for a canned soda. That's only $4 or $5 a day.
Right.
And so at that point, you're not making a lot of money. And so it wasn't beneficial for him. Now, for me, who was going to be there anyway, it was beneficial.
Right, of course.
So, you want to get a location that's going to be worth the time you put into purchasing the machine to be able to make your money back, as well as being able to travel to the location. And how often are you going to have to travel? There's a lot of factors that we teach people to look at before getting started.
Gotcha.
That's why one of the things I do before because I have a training course, and people can pay to do the training course. But before I let you pay to do a training course, you're going to do an assessment with me. It's a readiness assessment. And I need to find out, are you truly ready? And go through, and there are several points to it and questions that are asked to see if you're ready. Because I don't want you to take my class and you're not ready. And then, 2 years from now, you done forgot half of what we taught. You still have the ebook, but it's not the same as a class, and you're not ready. So
makes sense. All right, you hit a lot of key points there. Definitely giving us a lot of sauce. I appreciate that. We just got one more question for you. So earlier you spoke about the vending machine that was, at your former 9-to-5 and how long it took to really set up. But on average, how long, and this again may vary on equipment and location, but how long or how much time do you think it would take to really manage your business in a week? So you brought up the fact that it's, again, semi-passive. So the part that's not passive, obviously you're restocking, refilling, and nurturing relationships. But how much time should I really put aside to make sure that my business is successful all the way around?
Okay. So if you just get maybe one location with 2 or 3 more machines, I would say you could probably truly invest no more than 10 hours a week and be pretty good, and that could be one of the, 1 or 2 hours a night here and there, depending on what you're doing. And the reason I said the 10 hours, it's not just the shopping. It's not just the purchasing and accounting, because at that level, you're so small, you're going to really have to do everything. You're not going to be able to afford to pay for someone to do your accounting for you, to do your ordering and all for you. It's all going to fall on you. So you'll put, 5 to 10 hours in, because you're trying to make sure that you have the right product, look at what's selling, get your finances together, and, keep your books, because again, taxes and business administration, all of those things are a part of it. But anywhere from 5 to 10 hours, depending on how quick and how good you are with business.
Okay, awesome. Listen, I appreciate that. So again, you heard it here from the man himself, Mr. Charlie Garrett. We appreciate you jumping on for sure. And as you heard him, he has a coaching and training program. I will also admit that when I started my business, again, that's the lesson that I had to learn, was not finding the experts quick enough, right? Finding the people to mentor me through, certain decisions that I had to make as a business owner. I didn't do that fast enough, right? So the quickest path that you could take to really, jumping into entrepreneurship is to find a mentor, finding a coach. If you're interested in the vending machine business, Mr. Charlie Garrett is the man to talk to. He does have a program. And one thing I love about him is he's willing to give up, right, some of the strategy for free. He's here to help you, right? It's not about the money. He really wants to see entrepreneurs get to the next level. So I definitely say tap in with him, connect with him, see what type of gems that he could offer you. And if you just want to, again, jump into that coaching program. But Charlie, where can people find you if they want to go deeper, they want to network, they want to learn more about the vending machine industry?
Well, the best way to reach out to me is through the website or Instagram with Sunshine Refreshments. On Instagram, we're Sunshine Refreshments, as well as Facebook. Our email is sunshinerefresh@yahoo.com. We're sunshinerefresh.com. That's our website. It has the links to all of the things we offer. So Sunshine Refreshments, keep that in your mind, and we'll help you out.
Charlie, it's been fantastic. Thanks for jumping on the show, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Agents and Owners Chit Chat is produced by GladMash. To be featured or sponsored, or to sign up for Agents and Owners free social media tips, please visit www.gladmash.com.